Welcome to the Social Propertypreneur Podcast. And here is your host, social media queen, property investor, and entrepreneur, Laura Muse.
Welcome, everybody. This morning I've got Andy Thomas, who is a whiz at creative strategies, and he's very, very kind that this morning he's going to share with you a lovely lot how you can use alternative strategies to take control of property, how you can use that to basically secure an asset and pay for it at a later date, and all sorts of other wonderful tips. So I'm going to hand you straight over to Andy. So yeah, Andy Thomas.
Thanks, darling. Thanks. Good morning, Laura. Good morning, everyone. Happy to be here. Absolutely loving it. So yes, so I'm Andy Thomas. I'm one of 3 directors of Blue Oak. I've been in property for about 15 years. I've got a portfolio over in Liverpool, which I started many, many years ago. And I got into creative strategies, if you call it lease options, back end of 2009. And I was coming from a traditional sort of cash buying background, mortgage background. And then, someone showed me a lease option contract. I read the contract and I was like, this can't be real. I can control a property and the equity and the income of property with a piece of paper. So I was like, I need to get this checked out. So off I went to 3 different sets of solicitors, gave them the contract that I had. They read it. They said it's a bit, wishy-washy, but we pad it out with our own, bits. But if you can get a vendor to sign this piece of paper with some other bits in place, you go for your life. I was like, amazing. So I took that concept and I ran with it. And I took my portfolio from mid-teens up to 134 properties using creative strategies. So, and that was chaos for many, many years. It was good. Earned a lot of money, had a lot of fun, learned a lot. And I still use them to this day. I still use creative strategies today. I don't control any more. I don't have any more lease option or rent-to-rent properties in my portfolio, but I still do a lot of assisted sales. So my portfolio is in Liverpool, unencumbered, but I used creative strategies to pay off the debt on my portfolio just by constantly asking the question, being able to spot them. So I'm going to run through what they are, how to use them. I'm going to show you some live examples of deals that I've done that I'm currently doing, the contracts that I've used. I'll give you my top tips, and then I don't know if Laura can see the feed. If there's any questions,
I'll keep an eye on questions.
Yeah, just
we're
fire them out
streaming on a few different channels, so I will try my very best.
Amazing. We'll see. Any coming afterwards, I'm happy to answer afterwards.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So, come on, slide. Work. We're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. Okay. So, what is a creative strategy? So, a creative strategy is a lease option. All heard of lease options?
Yeah.
A rent-to-rent, assisted sales, property trading, and planning gains. So they're the 5 strategies I'm going to talk about today. Okay, so you've probably all heard of them, and I'm going to you can pretty much use the same contracts in sort of different combinations to secure all these types of strategies and profit from property. Okay, so this is what I'm going to talk about today. So what is a lease option? First and foremost, lease option, it's a legal agreement between a vendor or property owner and the buyer, that's you, where you agree a purchase price with the vendor on a property or properties. Okay, the price is fixed for an agreed amount of time. You can do this for any amount of time. The sweet spot is, usually between 5 to 7 years. But each deal is individual. It's as individual as the property and as also the vendor that you're dealing with. So that's up for you to negotiate at the time. And it just has to make sure it's a win-win for all parties involved. Usually there's 3 parties involved, by the way. There's usually the mortgage company, the property owner, and yourself. Try and get a win-win for all 3 parties. You won't go far wrong. Okay, so a monthly amount is also agreed with a lease option. Sometimes it's just covers the mortgage. Sometimes there's a profit for the vendor or a payment top up as well. So I've done them where I'm literally just covering the mortgage because the vendors have just been like, take that headache away. Other times the vendor still wants to, he's put the hard work. They've done the hard work. They've saved up the money, put in a deposit, bought the property, managed it. Things have maybe not gone so right in their life, and maybe they don't want to be a landlord anymore, but they still have a right to, get a bit of profit from the property. So, and if you're getting into, a property for no deposit and none of that bit, you need to be quite sympathetic to a vendor's needs.
Can I just ask you a question?
Of course, my love.
Lease options, do you feel it's a strategy it's a case of somebody is under a little bit of pressure to sell the property that a lease option, offload the property that a lease option is a better way of acquiring a property, or
Sometimes for me, it's just that sometimes a lot of people, the uninitiated, shall we say, they just don't realize that there are other options. Some people might be like, at the moment, once we come out of this, there'll be a lot of people seeing paper losses, on their portfolio. So they panic. They're like, oh, I need to sell. You're not losing money. You're just seeing figures on a screen reduce. But if you can offer a lease option and say, look, you don't have to sell. Let's just control the asset. I'll take over the hassle for you. And once it comes out, let's agree a price. You don't have to lose money. So it's about educating, the vendors and the people who don't know, people who aren't sitting on webinars like this on a Wednesday morning, and initiating. It's your job to understand these concepts and be able to explain it in layman's terms and just sort of say, there is another option. You don't have to sell and technically lose money. Markets go in cycles. We've just had, a really, really long run of a really nice market. Someone undercuts the bat and, away we go. And now we're sort of facing this, and we've all had the rug pulled from under our feet. So sometimes it's a better option for them. Just to actually say, if you sell now, you will lose money. If you work with me over the next 3 to 5, 7, whatever years, you could end up coming out clean. And I'm like, oh, but I've had enough. Okay, well, look, your phone will never ring. I'm going to take over the financial responsibility, the management of the property. Your phone will never ring. You'll never have a void. You'll never have to deal with a tenant. I'll deal with voids. I'm taking on the hassle, and we'll revisit it in 3 to 5 years' time. And we'll make sure you don't lose some money. How does that sound? And that's it. That's lease options. That's creative strategies. It's just being able to explain it in that word. Don't say lease options on appointments. I'm going to get into that at the end when I do give you some tips. But I think it's a fantastic, way you can really, really help people once you understand this strategy. Sorry, only had one coffee this morning. So so the buyer, the buyer assumes full financial control of the property, all bills, taxes, insurance. I have had instances where, a buyer will, negotiate different terms. I have personally never done a deal where I have not taken on full financial responsibility of the property. My argument would be for this, some people are doing it because they need to make profit. My argument would be that if the deal is that tight that you can't afford the council tax or a bill on the property, it's probably not a deal. So I just, when I'm looking at a deal, I know there's plenty of profit for me to cover. I just work out, that's the bottom line. What's my profit after everything taken out? Bills, taxes, voids, insurance, everything. What is, maintenance and everything else. Can I make money on that? If I can, let's press go. And you're just taking off that hassle. You're just removing that niggly thing from the head. They haven't got to worry about a thing. And
do you have a minimum that you'll expect to make profit from?
It used to be, so for a lease options, when I married up lease options with HMOs very well. So I aimed for no less than £800 net out of a property. I did that very well. I mean, this was back in the good old days in the Wild West, when you could get this, and it wasn't as regulated, shall we say, as it was now. But I'm not saying I stuffed 27 people in one house or anything like that. It was one person to a room, but it was still, I could still make money back then. And don't forget, this was coming out of the recession when interest rates were still really low. There was a lot of motivated portfolio landlords. I was taking on portfolios once. And so I was able to, they were in a mess. Don't get me wrong, they were upside down, there were voids, there was all kinds of, nightmares, in there. So I had to go and spend a lot of money to turn the portfolios around. But, one portfolio ended up with over 20 HMOs out of it.
Wow.
So, for a long time, that was it. I had 26 HMOs at one point, managing them all myself. I was the viewings clerk, the bed maker, the debt collector, you name it. I did. There wasn't a part of my business I didn't work on growing it. But I very quickly sort of put in strategies, obviously, to distance myself from that now, because I would have ended up strangling a tenant. So
we wouldn't have had any hair left, Andy, let's put it that way.
Ooh, and I've got this, I might as well share it. This is what's going on. This is why I'm wearing caps, people. I don't care anymore. So, I had a shower for this, though, at least. That's nice. I put a shirt on. I've been living in my gym gear. I've just put a shirt on. I put jeans on yesterday the first time. I was like, oh, this doesn't feel right.
I did that the other day. I thought I'd lost quite a bit of weight. Then I put my jeans on. Like, oh, Didn't expect that.
His jeans have shrunk again.
Yeah, damn you jeans.
They shrunk in the wardrobe. What was that? Point 5. Oh, so you also assume full responsibility of the maintenance. So if you sign that contract and the boiler goes bang the next day, that's on you, baby. You've got to sort that out. So in order for the buyer to be able to collect the rent and keep the profit, it must also have a management contract in place. So that needs to coincide with it. So for a lot of years, I just did it with a lease option. Didn't have a management contract in place. I was just running around doing deals all over Liverpool. Got away with it. Not got away with it. Look, I went into it ethically with the right approach. I just didn't know. I just wasn't fully educated. I just didn't know you needed the management contract. And I was like, right. Because the management contract, the lease option takes care of the actual, the property, the price, the equity, what the buyer and seller can and cannot do. What the management contract do is allows you to collect the rent and also keep any profits over and above the agreed price that you've agreed with the vendor, and also allows you to do any work on the property as well, which is very, very important. So yeah, so you need the management contract if you're keeping a lease option over a long term. For security, a restriction is also placed at the land registry using an RX1 or an AL1. Both very, very similar. I always use an RX1. You can get these, you can download these directly from the land registry, but to be honest, give it to a solicitor, let's do it. For many years, I filled these out myself. It's not something you want to risk getting wrong. The solicitor will charge you, whatever they charge you, £200. Trust me, get a solicitor to do it. It'll be done right. You'll sleep at night.
Yeah.
That's a restriction at the land registry. So that means that should the vendor wake up one morning and have an evil genius laugh like, I'm going to sell this property behind Andy's back, as soon as the solicitors do their searches, if you're wondering what they do, what those searches entail, they'll go on the land registry and they'll say, who the heck is Andrew Thomas? We need his permission to sell this property. So that's what a restriction is. Very, very important that you get that. In some cases, you use a power of attorney. Now, power of attorney is a very powerful document, so use with caution. I've known vendors to be spooked by this in the past because they think power of attorney, you've got power over my entire estate. It's not the case. Just use it with caution. Okay, if it's a big, messy deal, like the ones I love, get a power of attorney in place. If it's, Mr. and Mrs. Smith and the China teacup set, maybe you don't need a power of attorney. Just get some robust paperwork in place. Make sure everyone's, legally represented, and you can still do the deals. So just, don't be just getting power of attorneys out in people's, lounges while you're eating the hobnobs. Make sure that, you've got, make sure you implement some common sense with the power of attorney, and speak to your solicitor. Some solicitors will, say you need a power of attorney, others don't. But yeah, for the bigger deals, definitely, I'm going to show you some examples of some bigger deals where I'm using power of attorney. So the buyer has the option to buy, but not the obligation. It is a lease option. So you have the option to buy at any time, but not the obligation. So you can walk away at any time, and you can put in the terms and conditions that you have a termination clause where you can cancel the option at any time in writing by giving X amount of months notice. The sweet spot there is anything between 2 to 6 months. Bigger deals, you probably find it's 6 months. Slightly smaller ones, usually 2 months is fine. The buyer cannot walk away from this deal unless they want to go through a very, very messy court case. But if it ever gets to the stage in a deal where the seller is looking to take you to court and you've done something wrong, it should never go that. Once you get into a lease option with someone, you're kind of entering into a JV. They are hopefully a very silent partner. You don't want them chipping in all the time. You want to be taking over this deal and running it as your own. But make sure you keep them informed. It's nice to keep them informed. Like I say, they probably put a lot of work into this. There may be some emotional attachment. It could be an old family home. Be emphatic of their feelings and their needs, and make sure you're structuring a deal in the right way. I've personally never heard of it. Like I've said, I've been involved in over 1,000 property transactions in the last 15 years, from when I was a mortgage broker up until now. I've never had even an inkling of someone say we're going to court, because it just never happens. I've had many tenants threaten to take me to court. Not one has taken me to court. Taken plenty of them to court, and I have 100% success rate. So,
but that's why it's really important that you set your stall out from the start. You're very clear on your intentions and build that relationship with that vendor. Yeah,
absolutely. It is it. You're building a relationship, and there will be nerves. If you've not heard of it, things like if you're dealing with a landlord or a professional investor, they'll probably understand it. They'll have seen people like this before. If it's Mr. and Mrs. Smith who paid off the mortgage 25 years ago, and they're not really understanding what's going on, and then you've got to try and explain it to their son or daughter or another family member. Then it's you just got to make sure that you can explain. You don't have to get into the inner workings of the contract. You just need to be able to explain the highlight reel, what the contract does, and then you just be like, look, that's what I want to do. Don't take my word from it. I'm just some tall bearded, placky scouser in your house. Let me introduce you to a solicitor who's going to give you the legal advice. They're going to, confirm that everything I've said is completely legal, completely above board. I'm going to cover your legal fees, and we can proceed with this deal as soon as you need to. Yeah.
Just because we've just mentioned it, Andy. Solicitors, is there anyone that you particularly recommend? Because obviously when a lot of people in property approach their regular solicitor, they've got no clue of what this is.
Yeah, there's a couple. I mean, I can't recommend my solicitor because she's too busy doing my stuff, and she said, "Please do not recommend me." That's her saying it. It's not me. Not me trying to keep Pam to myself.
No, that's fine. Well, there's like MS Law.
MS Law, I would say. They're one of the original guys. They've got a big firm. They've got plenty of guys in there. Andrew Brown's very good, one of the partners. They know what they're doing. And what they'll also have is they'll be able to recommend a solicitor that can represent the vendor.
Well, we've used Sam Hawkins before, so for that we've used MS Law for ourselves and Sam Hawkins for the other party. So they do work really well. So if anyone's listening, that's kind of who I personally recommend anyway.
Yeah, happy with that. That's good. Just get it done and make sure you get the vendor legally represented as well in all instances. Yeah, I have done it in the past where I haven't done it, and it's been like, I've been dealing with four vendors who owned a portfolio together. 3 of them were mortgage brokers and finance guys. Can't remember what the other guy did. I think he was an estate agent or a letting agent. And I was like, guys, there's 44 properties here. Do we really need 44? Lots of legal advice. Do you understand what's going on? Yes. Okay. Everyone happy to sign a waiver? Yes. All right, let's crack on. That's me. I don't recommend you do it. Get legal advice. Learn from me, not from my mistakes that worked out really well, but get legal advice. Trust me. Where I've won, I can lead. Where I've failed, I can guide. So, but always get legal advice. It's just you'll sleep at night for the cost of it as well. Yeah. It's just worth doing it. The buyer can walk away any time. Yeah, done that. And the seller cannot block the sale. They just can't. They've signed that paperwork. You can force the sale at any time. You have the option to buy it. You can either buy it yourself in a traditional way and you go through the actual house buying process, or you can reassign the option and sell it on the open market and profit from the sale. Incredibly powerful. Okay. Yeah. Next strat to G, rent to rent. Rent to rent, very simple. It's a lease option, but without the option to purchase. You just use the management contract. I always looked at it as buying income. So I was like, I'm never going to be able to buy this property or sell it. Not because sometimes it wasn't because the vendor wasn't willing to sell it. It's because, I'm just going to close this door because I can hear chaos going on downstairs. Yeah. I just looked at it because it might have just been because they bought the properties in 2006, 2007, and they were just upside down and they were never going to improve. I dare say some of those properties still haven't improved or are just about to. So it's just a case of, look, I'll work with you. I'll take the headache away from you. How much money am I? I'm taking this over a 5-year period. It's going to be averaging, single let £250 to £300 a month, if it was the HMO. Back in the day, I did actually manage to get quite a lot of people out of negative equity because back in the day, when you could get a multiple of the annual income for a HMO, I was able to take a single let property, HMO it, and then I'm banging out. And then vendors were just like, I can't believe you've done this. You've helped me. I was like, no, you've helped me. I got into this property for nothing. I put a bit of furniture in the in the bed, in the lounges, and turned it into a HMO. This was back in the day. I wish I still had the images of my original HMOs. They're hilarious. I've got them somewhere. They're on an old laptop. I'll dig them out.
You should definitely
I'll dig them out. Oh my goodness, I'll dig them out. Hilarious. Oh, the interior design is something else.
Oh. There was no Pinterest back then, Andy.
No, there was no interest. Yeah, it was. Oh wow. Yeah, I'll dig them out. Wow, my my bed sheets. Anyway, I'll dig them out and I'll show them at some point. Not my personal bed sheets. I mean the bed sheets. You know what I meant. Personal bed sheets are crisp and clean. So assisted sales. Okay, so this is by far my favorite strategy, and one I use to great.
I've never done one of these.
Oh, I love them. We will very, very soon. So same as a lease option, but usually with a quicker turnaround. You secure the property in the same way with an option contract and the management, and possibly I can't see that, but yeah, RX1, possibly power of attorney. You invest your money to make improvements to increase the chance of a sale. So the clue's in the title. You're assisting the vendor to sell the property. It's probably because it needs, a new kitchen, bathroom, plastering, curb appeal. They can't afford to do it, can't be bothered doing it, aren't in the area to do it, don't have the contacts to do it, but you can do it, and you can make a profit on that. I'm going to give you some tips on how to identify these and how to make sure that you can spot these and how to secure, assisted sales and lease options at the end. The vendor gets the option price. You get to keep profits over and above that. So if it's 70, you spend 10, so you're in for 18, you sell it for 90. On completion, the money comes into the lawyers, the vendor gets his 70, gets distributed to pay off any mortgage he had. Everything over and above, 70 comes to you. You get your 10,000 back you spent on the refurb, £10,000 profit, assisted sale. The vendor gets the option. Hopefully means you get your investment back. These can fit all kinds of different deals, from basic cosmetic refurbs to large scale refurbs and conversions. So yeah, this can go from your bog standard terraced house up to larger scale investments. And I've got some huge whopping assisted sales going on at the moment. You can use it for anything. Options, an option. A lot of the big house builders, Bellway and people like that, usually they're securing land on an option from a farmer, and they'll usually pay said farmer back or whoever landowner back, with the profits from the sale. So they have the option over the land. So options have been used in the commercial market for hundreds and hundreds of years and just turned over into the residential market in the last 20, 25. Australia and America spawned it, and as always, we've just been catching up the last few years. There's hardly anyone doing it. When I started doing it back in 2009, MS Law were actually one of the original people back then who were actually training people and teaching people how to do it. Back in 2009 when I started. They do carry more risk because usually there's only one exit. So look, we're all big on having multiple exit strategies, but if you've promised the vendor that you're going to come in, put a new kitchen, bathroom and get the sale, and you can't get the sale, you've got a problem. So you need to check your figures, double check them, triple check them, then get someone else to check them, and make sure that you are not cutting your cloth too close. For me, to go back to your question before as well, a usual return for an assisted sale, what I usually look for is I'm looking for at least 100% return. If I'm putting 10 in, I want to make sure I'm getting, that back, plus 10. I want to make sure there's that much wiggle movement in it, usually more, because what I also like to be able to do is with an assisted sale, I like to make sure, so I'll do my figures on the street, and you've got to be very, very careful, especially in Liverpool, for instance. The prices at the top of a street, and I'm talking about around Anfield and Walton and Old Swan, the price at the top of a street of terraced houses can differ to the price at the bottom of the street. You can't just look at house prices on that street. You could end up getting your fingers when you've really got to get into that area and make sure that you're looking, because at this end of the street could be a nice main road with shops. At this, it's the Wild West. Yeah. So you've just got to be very, very mindful. I always like to, when I'm doing my figures, I'll say, okay, if I spend X on this, and this brings it up to the value of the houses on the street, doesn't really help me stand out. What I like to be able to do is be able to offer some kind of deal on my assisted sale, so I can stand out. Because if I'm just going to do a deal and bring it to the standard of the standard of the other houses on the street, how do I stand out? Yeah, I can do a nice refurb, but there's probably other houses on the street with nice refurbs. The only way you're going to stand out is by being creative. So you need to leave some wiggle movement, whether it's if you can offer a 10% discount on the market value of the properties on the street and still profit in a deal, then you're going to do good business. And don't forget, you're on a bit of a time sensitive thing here. If you've only got 6 months on assisted sale or 12 months, and you're in 3 to 4 months for the refurb, 3 to 4 months for the marketing, and 3 to 4 months to get a mortgage through, all of a sudden you're into 12 months. You've got to get this thing moving, because at the end of that contract, the end of the assisted sale contract, which is basically a lease option contract, the vendor. So you can walk away at any time. At the end of the contract, the vendor is not obliged to renegotiate with you. They can just say, Andy, thanks so much for doing my house up. I'll take the keys back, please.
Right, okay.
You've got to make sure.
So do you commit to a certain length of time clearly, and there is an end date to it, so you need to basically...
Yeah. I mean, again, yeah, absolutely. I don't know a vendor that I've worked with that would have ever done that. It's never come to that. It's never even come close. Like I say, I'm very, I'm like a private detective with my due diligence. I know for absolute sure that, I know that the property that I'm going to be bringing to the market is going to get sold. And I've got the wiggle movement. I can do deals. I can offer, furniture packs for first time buyers. And to do an assisted sales way, by the way, a nice assisted sale is targeting the retail market. So your first and next time buyers. That's a really clean way to do it, because you can just put it on Rightmove and you just let Rightmove do its job. 6 million people a week going through that site. Just let that do the job for you. You can do the viewings if you want. There's other ways. I'm going to explain one of the ways you can do that. If you want to control the viewings and increase your chances, so you can do evening viewings, weekend viewings when the agents aren't there. If you want to control the actual sale, because you're going to put passion into it, because you're on a time sensitive, thing, and maybe it's a money sensitive thing as well. And the only trick estate agents have got is what? Reduce the price. If you're going in, the property owner, and you're showing them features, the work you've done, you say, oh, this here used to be a wall here. We took this wall down. We've opened up this room. Your estate agent's going to do that for you. He's going to open the door. He's going to let them look around. He's going to be clock watching. When do I get home? Got a Netflix box set to get through tonight. You can control the sale as well. You can actually do the viewings. So really get involved in every step of the process. Offering furniture packs. A furniture pack is less than a 10% discount.
Oh, I love furniture packs. We offer them out to the HMO register when we mail that out all the time. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's amazing. Furniture packs for first time buyers. Guess what you get? Next time buyers contacting you. Can we get a furniture pack? Of course you can. Do you want to make an offer? Yeah. Sale. So make sure you're not cutting your cloth too close, basically, with the figures.
Just sales, Andy. Is it typically for my own benefit, because I've never done one, and also I'm sure people are thinking this. Does the property have to be empty, or can the vendor live in the property, or what? How does that work? Yeah,
good question. Really, you probably want it empty. Especially if number one, if you're doing the work and you're putting in new kits, it's going to be a bomb site. It's going to be a building site. It's not going to be very nice for the vendors to live in it. And also, once you finish, you don't want them walking around your brand new, house. You want to be keeping it clean for the viewings. And also, you don't want them getting too comfortable in the brand new. So really, you want when I do the viewings on my bigger ones, there's little things that I do, and I'll put. I'll inject flexible. I'll put like fruit bowls of lemon. My interior design, skills have improved over the years. I'm pleased to say. So, just inject, bits of fruits, a bowl of fruit, and the smells. I make sure everyone has to put those blue plastic things on the feet. They don't have to, but it's the process. It's just like, I am proud of this house. This is the best property you're going to see today. You're not walking your mucky feet on it. Get one of these blue things on your feet. You put on the swimming baths, and it's just like people are like, oh. Like this is, this, then people feel that, because then they know if they've had to put those blue things on, they just know that everyone else has. They're just like, we're buying a crisp, brand new property here. Just little things that you can do. It's just sales. And stage is not going to do that. So I'll always like to control, say, look, if it's out of area, there's other ways to do it. And there's other ways to control that process without, you could tell the estate agents to do that, I suppose, whether they would or not. Sometimes, depends on the deal. I don't like to leave that bit to chance. I don't like to put too many people in charge of my wallet. So I like to control that process.
So if you're looking for an assisted sale, you typically look for an empty property. If it's a it's obviously got the vendor living there at the minute, you'd look at a different option.
Yeah. I've done deals where I've helped the vendor move, so just like, can you move on? I'm going to explain how, I'm going to give some tips on how to sort of.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right. No, it's okay. on how to sort of things you can say and how to secure them. And yeah, there's ways to, you've got to be creative. If the vendor is willing to move, okay, what does that look like? How long do they need to move for? Can they move into a relative's, girlfriend's, friend's house for a bit? Do they just need to rent? Have they got pets? Do they need to take pets with them? So, there's one I'm doing at the moment where I'm getting 12 months. So I'm having to pay 12 months rent for a flat. for the vendor and his 9 cats.
Oh, wow.
Oh, get me started. So we've basically said, we've told the vendor of the flat, we said, look, this is the score. We're a build, we are, I'm not a builder, but I'm JV and we're a builder. I was like, Gav, we need to accept, number one, we have to put a big deposit down on this. Number two, you're going to have to go in and probably refurbish that flat a little bit at the end, because both cats, they're not going to, so we've accepted, and we've just worked out what the rough costs are like. But Gavin's been around, said, yeah, it's going to cost roughly to do this, X, Y, and Z, put it on the bottom end. Does the deal still work? Happy. Let's go. You just put it on the bottom end. It works. So, yeah. So you just got to be creative on these things, and I'll give some sort of tips there. Huge benefits: no capital outlay. You haven't got to buy the thing, so I'm going to put up the purchase price to buy it. No mortgage applications. Yeah, no, you're not exchanging contracts, so you've not got no capital stamp duty. Sorry, always get those two confused. So there's huge benefits. You can do, if you've got £100,000 pot, you might only be able to do one deal once you've bought it. If you're getting mortgages, etc. If you're doing assisted sales, you can maybe do 10. If you find 10 little mini assisted sales or deal trades, that are 10 grand each, you can profit them. All of a sudden, you turn based on my figures, you turn your 100 grand into 200 grand.
No, definitely.
In quicker succession. So that's why I love them. That's why I like doing them. I use them to great effect. And they're out there. They are out there. You just got to know how to spot them.
Cool.
Next one, property trading. So this is good. This is a strat. Whoa, I remember doing that. Fancy me, aren't I?
You are.
Where that came from. So,
I must have I've had too much coffee already.
Well, Irish coffee this morning. Just forget. So, similar to an assisted sale, always done direct to vendor. You'll very rarely be able to negotiate this through an agent. It works best when negotiating with Mrs. Smith to sell to Mrs. Jones. Usually a very quick turnaround with minimal or no work required. Usually just an option contract or a lockout agreement is even better. And an RX1, very important. You'll definitely need that. But each deal is different. You lock out the deal at a discounted price and then you sell it to an end user. So you lock it out at 60, but it's worth 70. You go in. I've literally done these where I've gone in. I've got dozens and dozens of examples. Some of them I've gone in and I've literally just gone in and hoovered, Mr. Muscle, wiped it down, taken the curtains off, just get it looking like a blank canvas. Maybe you got a skip outside, emptied all the, the stuff, the chintzy stuff out. It's got those awful, multicolored carpets. Pull them up, get them walking. People don't mind walking around a house with no carpet down. I have a guy in over in Merseyside there who Fast Dave. He does carpets, and he'll carpet a 3-bed house for £500. Oh
wow!
Yeah, I mean it's.
Come to Sheffield.
It's this. I mean, Laura, it's this. It's this. But for the purpose of getting a deal trade done, it's like it's perfect because you just once you put that new carpet down, it's like, oh, that's nice, and it's just people walking around that new carpet, get the blue things on their feet, It really, really helps for £500. I've done them where, I've just literally just taken everything out, so it looks like it's a repossession. And people, there was a guy, not sure where he did it. Can't remember where he did it now. But he taught a course on it, how he sold money, how he sold this as a course. I don't know, but he used to go find deals around Liverpool. He'd pull all the carpets out, mess it up a little bit, and board the windows up. So it's like a repossession. He'd get it for 70, put it in the auction at 80 as a reserve for 80, get people bidding on it at 80 and make 85, 87, 90.
You know what? We nearly did that last year.
Seriously, it's really good. Really good. Because people see it, they're like, oh, it's a deal. Bid.
Yeah.
Great strategy, by the way. Great strategy coming out of this. Great strategy. People are just like, desperation, despair. So what's going on? If you go and you secure a house on an auction and the vendor's not in it, board the windows up, put in an auction, guarantee you'll make your money. Guarantee.
So funny you say we nearly did that. But I was like, you can't do that, James. He's like, it's money. I'll do it. I'm like, no.
No issues with it. It's up to you. That's your way you refurb stuff. And it's just the psychology behind it. It's funny.
Yeah. No, it is definitely. If you buy, in my mind, up until obviously recently, like with all this education I've done, it's always been you buy, you refurb, you get a good tenant, or you sell it. Whereas actually, this also works by kind of making it look devalued.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Crazy. So that's a good tip. I don't know if many people know about that, but that's a real tip. I've not done one of them for a while. I did do them back in. I'm definitely going to do one. I'm going to try and do one this year just to test it. If I get like one that's got a bit of wiggle movement, it's a long get a long option on it. I'm going to try and do it, and I'll document it, and I'll get it.
I'll try and do one as well.
I'll get it on the YouTube channel. I did them way back before I even knew about content and documenting and stuff like that. I was just banging them out, but let's try and do one this year and document. Yeah, I'll race you to do one first.
Challenges on.
So like all the big national house buyers, we buy houses for cash and stuff like that. So that's what they generally do, is this deal trade. They don't do the boarding up the windows thing, but they generally, that's what they do. They negotiate hard on the phone with the vendor, and you don't have to negotiate hard, by the way. That's what they do, and they're just turning it around. They're just turning around nice and quick. Those national house buyers, they are never going in and doing structural work or any kind of work. They might brush the carpets, if that, put a Hoover on it, but there's no work done. That's their model. That's what they do. And instead of charging £750, £1,000, £1,500 finder's fee, wouldn't you rather sit in the middle and make 10 grand less fees? How many of them do you need to do a year to quit your job? 4 of them a year, 1 of them a quarter, 30 grand a year. Could that help some people quit the job? And they are out there. Just got to be able to spot them. Did a lock out the deal at discount, right? Yeah. Could also be used with planning gain. Yeah. So the property is on a plot or benefit from planning permission. But bearing in mind, it obviously takes longer for planning permission. So yeah, if it's on a plot and there's something you can do with the property, you can also do it for this. So secure the property with a lockout agreement, put in a planning application, a pre-application, and then package it up and sell it. And you may just get a builder, developer, or someone coming in and make some money in the middle. So yeah, love deal trade, love property trading. Yeah, not done one. I'm going to try and pick that strategy up again. Actually, not done one for a long time. Where are we next? Planning gain. So planning gain's great. You gain control of any size property or a plot with an option. So you can gain control of any size property or plot with an option. Okay, and I'll give some examples. If you believe the scope to add further value, you can try and gain planning permission. You don't need to own the property to put an application in. You can put a pre-application in. Maybe don't go to full planning, but make sure you've got the paperwork in place. But you put a pre-application in, so which is your wish list. You put anything on a pre-app. It's Christmas time. Put whatever you want. The council come out and say, no, Mr. Thomas, you cannot put a full glass, penthouse on top of this terraced house. But you put anything and you say, but you can do this. So go crazy on your pre-app, and see what response you get back. And then you go into a full application. Any uplift gained from the planning approval is yours to keep, or you could retain it for yourself. If it's that good and it's got that much deal, that much money in it and it's that sexy, keep it for yourself. I haven't got the money, Andy. Go and find an investor. If it's that sexy, someone will fund it. Yeah. 100%. Get all these blockages out of your head. Find these deals, secure these deals, keep them for yourself. Don't be trying to package them up. You can't fund everything. I get that, but there'll be people, and there'll be a lot of people with a lot of money coming out the woodwork over these next 6 months.
Honestly, the last month we've had three investors transfer funds into our bank account.
Amazing.
So people are still 100% wanting to lend. 100%.
Yeah. And why do you think that is, Laura? Is that because you're quiet and you're not telling people about what you do, or is it because you are?
Yeah, that's it. I never tell anybody what we do.
You know what I mean? You are in your social media. You're adding value. You're telling people what you'll do. You're documenting what you do. That's how it's done. There's no secret sauce to it.
These people have all been watching me for the past 12 months.
Amazing. Watching quietly. This is what I mean. You don't know who's watching you, folks. Just watch, just lurking.
Yeah, but
the lurker.
I always say they never like or comment on anything, and they genuinely don't. And then you just get that text or that email.
Yeah. And
that's kind of where it starts.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's just that I think a lot of people, that's a big blockage for people, that is that funding thing. And yeah, it's it's not as much a bigger blockage as you think. You've just got to put the content out there. You've just got to be consistent. They are watching. They are out there. Yeah. So what have we got next? I don't even know what my next slide is. We're going into deals now. Paperwork. Wow, I'm efficient today. So yes, paperwork do you need? I know. So this is pretty much everything you need. These 8 things, not for every deal. Sometimes you only need 1 or 2. Sometimes you may use all of them. No, you won't use all of them. But the first and foremost thing you need is a heads of terms. Heads of terms is the basis of the deal. You can do the heads of terms on the back of a cereal box if you want, but there are heads of terms. If you Google heads of terms, there's an amazing thing called Google on the internet. Put heads of terms into Google, you will find a free download. I use Law Depot, lawdepot.com or .co.uk, and they've got good contracts, good paperwork on there, and you can download all the paperwork from there. A lockout agreement. Lockout agreement is used for deal trades, and some, if you're just going to, a lot of deal packages will use lockout agreements, so they'll lock it out for 3 months, package it up, and they've got 3 months to try and sell it, or you can use it for deal trades, quick deals. Lease option we know about. You can use a lease option to secure a property over the long term. Assisted sale agreement, similar to a lease option, but shorter. The management contract usually coincides with the lease option and assisted sale. Or if you're going to do a rent to rent, you can just do the management contract on its own. Power of attorney, like I said, you may or may not need it. Just put some common sense into that. Speak to your solicitor about the deal. They may or may not recommend it. But at the end of the day, it's your deal. The solicitor works for you. Yeah. They represent you. For the most part, they will hopefully, they're not going to break the law, and they certainly won't they won't expose themselves or put themselves at risk. But it's up to you if you want to if you can agree something else, just use that with caution, guys. That's all I'm saying. All right.
Would you put a bit of a disclaimer out? Obviously, if somebody's missed the beginning of this and they've gone and downloaded one of these documents from somewhere, 100% you need to get it in front of a solicitor.
Yeah, absolutely. To be honest, I mean, most of the time, all you really need to instruct a solicitor is the heads of terms. Yeah. I take it a step further. I will fill out the heads of terms with the vendors, and either sometimes, depending on the vendor, I'll also do the lockout agreement, maybe do the lease option contract. I have an 11-page lease option contract that I use, and then I say, but I'm just saying, look, I'll get signatures, but it's always subject to them receiving legal advice. Yeah. And then you just get the solicitors instructed. Always get it checked and just signed off as solicitor. Do not be running around going out there like I did doing deals with stuff that you've hashed together yourself. Just get the solicitors involved. You can't afford the solicitor's fees, then the deal's probably too tight anyway. If the solicitor's fees are killing the deal, it's not a deal. All right. RX1, AM1. It usually be an RX1. The difference between the RX1 is, I think, both are visual on the land registry. One, the lender gets informed. The other one, the lender doesn't get informed. With the AM1 form, the lender doesn't get informed, but you just want to inform the lender anyway, that what you're doing, get their permission. And the CH1 is a first charge. So if there's no mortgage on the property, you may look to take a first charge over it. And I'll give some examples of that now. So, yeah. So screenshot that, blah, blah, blah. They're usually what you need. Some live examples. We love an example. So this is property in Cheadle that I'm doing at present. You see the middle photo there, the main house. Don't know, can everyone see me as our head's in the way there? I'll try and move this down here. So you can see the main house there. All I'm focusing on is the main house. It was a care home previously, many, many years ago, 20 years ago. The son of the owners lives in the property with his wonderful lodger. That's what I'm going to call him for the purpose of this presentation. So we've got that main house and a big plot of land. The 2 flats that you see are nothing to do. They were sold 15 years ago, but they are sat on the land, which isn't a bad thing, but it does pose an interesting scenario when it comes to actually, doing the actual redevelopment of the site. It's in Cheadle. Anyone doesn't know where Cheadle is? Cheadle Hulme in Manchester, beautiful part of the world. Very, very nice, very affluent. Property prices are up there. My slide's not working. Here we go. So it's in poor condition, but an amazing location. There was an estate agent valuation of about 420. There's £20,000 remaining on the mortgage, but due diligence at the end, valuation is over 750k. So if refurbished to match the high end needs of the area. So I'm going to do a really high end. I was going to do flats. Yeah. The reason I'm not doing flats is I've got enough flat developments to last me a lifetime in my pipeline, and I just wanted a quick hit. Okay. So this one I'm doing as an assisted sale. So I'm going in, I'm going to do the property up, and I'm going to do it as a 5-bedroom house. It's a beauty. It's going to be an absolute beauty. So I'm going to separate the driveway on the front here. We're going to open up the front a little bit, separate the driveway. So the flat and the house become two separate entities. There's a bit of parking at the back of the flats for the flats. And obviously going to put a beautiful garden at the back. We're going to, returf it. And we're going to put on the back of the house there on the picture on the right-hand side, we're just going to put a full width, bifolding doors, like extension with bifolding doors off the back, opening out, decking, garden. You know the thing, it's classic with a nice big open plan kitchen inside. It's going to be very, very sexy. So can't wait.
I'm pointing at the screen. You can't obviously see what I'm pointing at, but at the front, obviously, is part of that land going to be reassigned to the flats or
yeah,
what?
So the flats are obviously leasehold, but the house is actually in a company owned in a company name, which is the old care home. Yeah. So they are the freehold. The company owns the freehold of the flats. So yeah, we're just going to separate the two, because if someone's paying £750,000 for a house, they probably don't want to share a driveway with Mr. White Van Man there. So we're just separating the two. We're just gonna have to play around it. It's if I have my choice, I would move it back, 15 yards. It's very close to the road there. But yeah, it's a cracker. It's going to be a belter inside. So I just need to give it its own individuality. So if you come up the drive around the back of the flats there's one parking space behind the back, but to keep everyone happy, I'm going to create another parking space for the flats. And then, so ours will almost wrap around. So it's almost like it's going to be like an L-shaped garden at the back, if that makes sense. Yeah, but it's going to be a beauty. But Gavin, had to down tools when Corona hit, so we're just waiting to start. And yeah, we're going to help the vendor. We're going to move the vendor into alternative accommodation and help his lodging move somewhere else as well. And that's it. Paperwork required. So go through the 20k remaining. So I'm actually going to pay off the £20,000 mortgage on the property with RBS, and then I'm going to take first charge over the property. It's going to be an assisted sale. I've got a management contract, so I can do the work. I'm using a power of attorney on this because this is going to be a £220,000 assisted sale. So I want the power of attorney on this one. So I've absolutely insisted on that. The vendor's okay with it. He's cool with it, and everyone's going to be happy. He's going to make some good money. That's his nest egg. That's his what his parents have left for him. I think his mother's still alive. Mother's actually in a care home, but that's his. That's his. So I'm making sure. Otherwise, if anyone else wanted the price I've given for this property, the option price I've given for this property, he wouldn't be getting it. If you put it to the open market, there's an estate agent value there of 420. If you put this on the open market, the condition it's in, it's knackered inside. It's wrecked. He wouldn't be getting anywhere close to 420. He'd be probably around the 300 mark, I reckon. So I've given him a very, very fair price. He knows that. He's happy, but I'm not going to buy the thing, and I'm just going to go through the assisted sale process. So very, very happy with that one. Can't wait.
Oh, it's exciting. But it'd be good for if we can come over when we're out of lockdown and have a look, actually.
Please do. You can come and give me a woman's touch on the
Not that far.
Yeah, please help. So this one was an old one. I don't have this one anymore. This was a one in Withamshire, lovely part of the world, over in Manchester. It was in poor condition. Vendor had been shafted by 2 different tenants, not paid the rent for God knows how long. I think one of them grew weed in the house as well. Classic. Owed 117 on the mortgage, wanted 125, worth a lot more done up. And 3 beds, 2 lounges. You can guess, given the location, Withamshire Hospital, you see it in the middle there. Sorry, no, I'm pointing at the screen now. In the middle there, you've got where the house was, got Withamshire Hospital there, Manchester Airport there, dead simple, lease option to HMO. I had this in my portfolio for about 5 years. It was full, pretty much 97% full for the 5 years. Hospital staff, It was just a fight between hospital staff and airport staff, full of Ryanair. It's great. Another little tip for you: HMOs near hospitals and airports work really well. They will be full. So you can do them in the right way, but you always get staff. You just got advertised in the right way. Great for hospital staff. Great for cabin crew. HMO cabin, HMO for cabin crew. Get it out there on spare room, and then you will fill it. And the good tenants as well. They're away 2-3 days a week. They're never there. So good tenants. So had that one. That one I just did an option contract, management contract. I had the power of attorney in the RX1 on that one as well. Everyone was cool. And yeah, I had it for 5 years. And I did a very basic HMO refurb on this one. A refurb. I can't remember what. I think I painted it, new carpets, did the fire regs. This was before we had to do fire regs. How very responsible of me. And put some decent furniture in there. But I did 5 bedrooms, made great money, made £1,000 a month this one. So I made my money back I made my money back in 6 months. Goes to show you how much money I spent on the refurb. And ended up selling in the end for 175 grand. Great little deal. Yeah. So he got his 125. I made the 50 grand on the end, but I also, over the 5-year period, made a ton of money on that one. It's a great little deal. I'd have taken 10 more like that in that area. Not now, because can't get away with what I got away with. So this is the beauty. This is what I'm doing at the moment in Leeds. Poor condition, amazing location in Leeds. It's on one of the main arteries going into Leeds city centre. Currently 5 flats. Vendor wants 400k. I was like, 350. And he just looked at me and went, Andy, look at it. It's 400k. And I was like, all right, it's 400k. So we agreed 400k. Scope to add more units. Possible to increase to 6 to 9. Again, I've put my wish list in. My architects have been out. We're going to hopefully add some flats on the back there. Oh, cool. Or potentially we're maybe looking at doing a children's nursery with this one. Okay. Yeah, so interesting. There is, like I say, it's just one of the main arteries. So we've got people coming from like Wetherby, Adel, all these nice places around coming down this main artery into Leeds city centre, stop outside, kick the kids in, carry on into work. Yeah. Perfect. So there's 2 other nurseries down on this road, just a little bit further up, which are oversubscribed. So there's a waiting list. So I've identified a demand. Never done a children's nursery, but
I'm just going to ask you that.
No, God no. Ready, fire, aim. You know me. So I'll work it out. So we're just in the process of working it out at the moment. So haven't put the pre-application in for that. We're just kind of, can we do it? Should we do it? We're in that sort of stage. I'm also speaking to another nursery operator in Leeds to see if they just want to take it over and become the tenant. So might just become the landlords.
Oh, that'd be good.
But Paul's got a background in children's nurseries. So,
okay.
I didn't know that about Mr. Smith, maybe. Some inside information on Mr. Blue Eyes. Oh, baby blue. So this one, lockout agreement, planning gain and development. So I'm developing this one, but developing into what? We don't know. And paperwork used, option card input. I forgot to put, I mustn't have put the paperwork on this one. For some reason. No, I didn't. So used a heads of terms, lockout agreement, assisted sale, management contract, and obviously planning. So it's nice and secure. Oh, and also no mortgage on this one, so I'm taking first charge. Cool. So it's probably in the region of, this is another big one, £350,000. Easy to raise that funding because we can borrow the money and we can give them first charge over the property. Yeah. Happy. Okay. Oh. And given that the GDV on this one's probably going to be over £1 million if we do it as flats, it's going to be a belter. Such a shame. Lovely guy. I did this phone call. This was from a Facebook lead gen campaign that I did. And I phoned this guy at one of our events in York, live in the room, put it on speakerphone, phoned it, and he gave me this and 2 other ones over the phone.
Oh, amazing.
It was mental. Couldn't believe it.
Yes, that actually couldn't have gone any better.
Could not have gone any better. Unbelievable. Yeah, it was great. It was crazy that. Everyone was just like, oh, there it is. Paperwork, assisted sale, management contract. Yeah, so I've got it. But everyone's like, did that just happen? I'm just like, just happened.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is one of the other ones he's had. Now I've been stopping and staring at this building. It's been near some traffic lights in Leeds. I've been beeped. I don't know how many times because I've been sat at traffic lights going, I like that building. And I've just been beep, beep, like, sorry, off. And it turns out he owns this one as well. 4 flats. That's the photograph in the middle is partly done up. It is, it's unbelievable. Like he's getting the flats have done now to a really high standard. They've been done out beautifully, and they're fully tenanted. And he's getting, I can't remember the figures now. I'm sure he's getting something like 4,000 or 3,800 or something like that across the 3 flats. So I've secured it with a lockout agreement, and we're just deciding what we want to do with it. Be a beautiful one to hold in the portfolio. This one fully let as well. He just cracked on and finished it and just let it out, and I was like, all right, good. How much have you rented it for? It's not 2,000. These are old figures. He's got it. The bottom floor flat, the basement flat. He's getting £1,100 a month for it.
Wow.
Insane. I know, right? Insane. So, and he's just like, yeah, you can have it, Andy. So we could package it up, we could sell it, we can make some tidy money on this. But I really want to add this to the portfolio, the Blue Oak portfolio, and get that done. So lockout, self-profit hold. I reckon we're going to hold it. We're just going to get. We were just in the process of sending out a surveyor, a valuer, just before lockdown, and then we just thought, what's the point? They'll give us a valuation. It'll be, reduced risk or whatever, whatever terminology they were using at the time, and let's just wait. It's not going anywhere. We've got it secured. Happy. So,
do you mind me asking what the vendors or landlord's situation was to offload?
Yeah, he was Alan. He's not called Alan. Calls himself Alan. Okay, he's a Muslim guy. He is crazy. I love him. And his situation was with the one that maybe doing as a nursery. He's just got to the stage where it's not habitable, so he's got that one, and he just got to the stage where it's not that he's not old, he's getting on a bit, and he's just got to the stage where he's not got the, I dare say he can get the money to do it up, but does he want to? So, well,
it's just going down a bit. It just
and it's just like. It's such a shame. So what I'm doing is I'm making sure that he's getting a very, very fair price for it. And I'm just working with him. So he was just motivated. I think he's just looking to, reduce his portfolio down. So that one he owns on his own. The last one I showed you, the 4 flats, he owns that with another partner, and they're happy to do the deal with us. So we're happy, and very, very happy with the figures on that one. And then there's another one that he owns with 4 partners, which is not on here. I didn't include it, which is a medical centre and a plot of land. We're probably going to flatten, and that's got no mortgage on it either. So we're going to flatten the medical centre, redevelop it, commercial, flats above, and then the land's actually on a separate title already. I'm probably going to look into working with Homes England, maybe put some affordable housing on it. So all done with options, no capital outlay. No, crazy. Amazing. They are out there, yeah. But he's crazy. I love him, but I've got the stories I've got from this guy. Only met him a few months ago. The stories I have, he's nuts. I love him. I love crazy vendors.
And just for people who are listening, obviously this isn't just one conversation. You've got all this. This is putting some time and effort into nurturing this relationship. Obviously, discovering that he owns these different properties. It's not just a one phone call and you expect to get the goods, so to speak. It is a long-term longer-term plan, should we say.
No, definitely not. You're absolutely right. And it's one thing that I focus on from the outset is, who is the person I'm talking to? You need to quickly sort of, what are they like? Are they loud? Are they quiet? Are they reserved? What sort of person? Usually it's over the phone, so it's kind of difficult to do, but it's a skill that you can develop over time. And then you have to quickly work out what hat you need to wear to negotiate with this person. Don't be in a rush to go out to viewings just so you've got some content to put on your social media. Don't be running out to viewings just for the sake of it. Take a breath, slow down, do your due diligence, and just try and work out what the deal is over the phone. Get the details over the phone. Do it as a conversation, not as a clipboard. Next, can I have your name? What address? Do it as a conversation. Let it flow. Let it do naturally, and build up rapport. Get them laughing, get them smiling. What do they like? If they got kids, why are they selling? What's their motivation? You want to be building up a really big picture in your head so you can say, okay, listen, thanks for that information. Give me whatever you need, 24 hours, or give me an hour. I'll get back to you. Yeah, okay, listen, Dave, I really like the look of this property. I'd love to arrange a viewing. Can I come out and see it? Yeah, of course you can. Oh, can you not make me offer over the phone? These are all the objections you need to get good at handling. And, then you decide, based on your due diligence, the first thing you should do, tip for you, first thing you should do when you got off the phone is go on the land registry. It's the first thing you should do. Too many people don't do it. It doesn't always give up the juice, doesn't always give you all the details you want, but generally speaking, there is some stuff on there. If it's not on there, then you need to start digging a little deeper, or you need to start asking the questions that weren't on the land registry, and getting those details out of it. It could reveal, is it owned with two people? Don't be going out to appointments to see Mr. Smith if it's owned by Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Only go out to the appointment when they're both there. You don't want to be going out for too many appointments. So make sure that both homeowners are going to be there on the appointment. What did they pay for it? Incredibly powerful. You need to be finding the magic number. The magic number is what they get from the profit from the sale, not what they're selling it for. They're selling it for 70 and they owe 50 on the mortgage. They're not getting 70, they're getting 20. What do they need that 20 for? And it's that you negotiate on. It's that you focus on. I'm doing a deal at the moment over in Newcastle on a portfolio, and he wants 100 grand to move to France. So I'm now negotiating on the 100 grand. The portfolio, that's the profit across what he thinks it's worth across the portfolio. Yeah. It's not. There isn't that much profit in it. We're negotiating. We're down to 75 at the moment. We're hoping to get it sub 50 if we can. But it's down to 75 at the moment. But when I'm negotiating, I was just saying, look, I just want to get your money and get you off to France. Start reminding them that's what you negotiate. Don't focus on the 100 grand. Focus on the motivation for the sale. And if you haven't, that's why you need to get that from them very, very early on in the process. And it just helps you. It just helps you be prepared for the appointments. This one, I wanted to put this little process in here. You negotiate with a vendor, you lock out the agreement, close on an option, management agreement, whatever it is. Like I said before, so this is almost like a deal trade. You can, if you want to, you can give the property to an estate agent, or if you want to, there's a website called 99homes.com. If anyone's heard of it, and you can actually advertise properties on Rightmove through 99homes.com. You'd have to get some signatures and some paperwork off the vendor, but if you've done the deal, it's not going to be a problem. And you can actually get a property on Rightmove and all the major platforms, the exact same exposure that the estate agents have for about £99.
It's like open rent, but for selling.
It really is. I have not checked the prices recently. Obviously, do your own due diligence, but I have got properties on all the major platforms for £99 in the past. So just check it out, 99homes.com, and check it out. So you can get them on. So you've secured the property, you've gone in, you've pulled the curtains off, ripped the carpets out, boarded the windows up, whatever it is you want to do, and now you've got the exposure and once you set on an account with it, when people make an inquiry on the property, you get an email to your inbox. Nice. If you can't do the viewings, if you're out of area, you can then employ someone on Viewer to do your viewings for you, £30 a time. Give them very specific instructions. There is a box of blue plastic socks at the front door. Please make sure you and the people doing the viewing, unless you've boarded up the windows, probably don't need to do it on that one. But you probably wipe your feet on the way out, sort of thing. So please, and they're like your employee. Viewer, it's brilliant. And it's generally speaking, you normally get the same person. So you can use Viewer. So far you've got £100 for the cost, whatever you've spent on the property, and Viewer's about £30 a viewing. If you get an instruction, give it to solicitors. I'm not sure if that's what all solicitors look like. Sorry if I'm generalising there, but I think I Googled solicitors images on Google and that's what came back. So, hi, nice actress. Thanks for posing for the photo. And then you bank the cash. Simple as that. So there's a little process you can go through. It doesn't have to be like, it doesn't have to look exactly like that, but that's absolutely something you can absolutely do with an option agreement without having to buy the property. So there's just a little process that you can maybe go through with a lockout agreement. All right. So top tips. Here it is. Top tips. Number one, know your product. Okay. If you read every day, I highly recommend that you do. You should read every day. You need to, those contracts that I said before, find them, get them, beg, borrow and steal them. If you have to, add them to your reading list. My lease option training consisted of me reading a lease option. I didn't go on a full weekend deep dive lease option rent-to-rent course for $997. I read a lease option contract. I got it confirmed by the vendor. I buy it as 3 sets of solicitors, and I went out and I learned my product. Okay, I understood the concept of the option contract, and I learned how to explain that to the vendor. Not explaining him, section 2.4, subsection 3. You're going to lose them. You just need to get good at selling what
contact is.
Yes,
what it is.
exactly right. So know your product, get to know your product, read that contract so you understand it. Because if there's bits you don't understand, highlight it. When you eventually instruct a solicitor, phone your solicitor up maybe a week in advance and just sort of say, look, I'm going out to do a deal next week. I've got a viewing booked. I'm going to be hopefully doing it as an assisted sale or a lease option. I can help me. This section here, I don't understand it. What does that mean? Your solicitor will explain it to you. Don't be trying to second guess it. Or Google it, probably in Google, and it'll explain it. So get a base level understanding of it. Read it. I sort of got ink running through my fingers from the amount of times I've read, these contracts. I know them inside out. I know them enough to be able to explain it to a vendor. Yeah. So I can ask questions. So there isn't really a question a vendor can't ask me on an appointment. I can explain it back. It gives you a confidence, and so you know what you're doing. Be like a private detective, okay? Amat Victoria Coram is Latin. It means victory loves preparation, okay? So anyone out there thinking, Andy, I'm not good at sales or I'm not a good salesman, being prepared can take that away. Preparation can make you good at sales. Now, closing is another matter. Sales and closing are two different things. A lot of people are good at sales and couldn't close a door. So you need to get...
I like that.
you need to get comfortable with closing. There are many, many books out there on closing, okay, and how to close a deal. There's a great one, Grant Cardone's The Closer's Manual. I'm not sure it is, but it's on there. I've got an audio book. There's like 150 closes on there. Man alive. Love him or hate him, the boy knows sales. Uncle G knows how to sell.
I quite like that one as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. So all these things, to get comfortable closing, sales can be preparation. So when you want to, from the first phone call, wherever that lead has come from, whether it's from an estate agent, a bandit board, a Facebook ad, whatever it is, you've got that direct offender, lead coming through. From the second you pick up the phone, you are closing that deal. The vendor doesn't know it, but you are closing that deal without even realizing it. You need to be like a private detective. Don't just focus on the property, focus on the vendor. Okay, we're in the people business. We're not in the property business. We are in the people business. Focus on the person you are dealing with. That is how you're going to get the deal done, because likewise, they will deal with you. People buy from people, and it is sales. Even though you say it's not sales, I'm trying to sell the property. No, you're trying to sell the vendor on a concept that he doesn't understand. Everything is sales. We are all in sales. Get comfortable with it. Okay, I'm about to go downstairs and get sold by my kids on whether I'm going to play with them for half an hour. I'm going to, get to do some more work. Everything is sales. Yeah. So be like a private detective. Do your due diligence. Go into the appointment very, very prepared. Before you go out to an appointment, you should know what the offer is going to be. Yeah. Okay. Or what the deal is going to be. And you can do that from the due diligence, from just, if you know that he paid £70,000 for it back in 2013, and houses on the street are only worth 75, but he wants 80. From that information, you should be able to sort of work out what the deal is going to be. That's one example. There's 1,000 different, scenarios. So you should be turning up to a deal. Don't just turn up unprepared. Turn up very prepared with a lot of information. The land registry printed off. Get that printed off. Comparable house prices on the street printed off. Rental demand for house on the street printed off. Turn up so you're not just turning up, but you can actually show. Because the other reason to do that, if you're making an offer which is an offer that maybe a vendor doesn't understand, people don't believe what they hear, they believe what they see. So if you're telling them, look, the reason I can't offer you £75,000 today, Dave, is because houses on the street are only worth 70 or only worth 80, and I need at least a 20% margin for my business to work. So my offer doesn't coincide with that. Plus, you've got no kitchen and you've got a shopping trolley in your front garden. There's a bit of work that needs to be done. I know you want 80. I know, Frank's over the road, so for 80, but, he has a boiler and a driveway. This is, that's why it's over 80. Can you see the difference here? Show them the reason, explain to them. Don't just tell them, explain why you're making your offer. People believe what they see. And another phrase I know Laura's going to love, pitch on your feet, closing the seat. Okay. So when you're doing the walk around and you're doing the sale, so you're doing the sale and you're getting information, you're getting to know, you're building up rapport with the vendor. When it comes time to close the deal, sit down on the sofa or wherever and do not stand up. and be prepared, and always have a pen. If you go to sit down to close, and the vendor's got to stand up to go to the kitchen to get a pen, or you've got to go back out to your car, squeaky bum time, you'd lose the deal. You need to make sure, be prepared, okay? It's as simple as that. Always have a pen, okay? Practice your pitch. Practice it on your partner, your mum, your dad, your brother, your dog, your cat, your rubber plant, whatever you need to practice, or in the mirror while you're driving, while you're brushing your teeth. I'm not a massive fan of practicing your pitch on potential leads or potential investors, because you might not get many of them in a week or a month. So practice your pitch everywhere else. Great place to practice your pitch for creative strategies: taxi drivers. You tell a taxi driver that you can control property without buying it. I've never met a taxi driver that doesn't own property. Never in my life have I ever met. They all own property and they love talking. You're in the car for 5 minutes, practice your pitch, practice your elevator pitch. Yeah. What is it you do? They will always ask you, so where are you off today? What do you do for a living? Get the conversation onto property and just say, well, I'm in property. I'm just studying this new concept at the moment. Have you heard of lease options? No. What's a lease option? So a lease option is basically that, and then go into your pitch. It's a friendly way. Little things like that. Start telling everyone about what you do as well. Practice it in the hairdressers. You've got a hairdresser, if you're like me, when you're in the seat dealing with this absolute mess, you're in the seat for a while. So, practice your pitch on them. Just pitch and do different things, say it in different ways. Practice your pitch. So when there'll be a topic, everyone has got a favorite topic on something, whether it's football, netball, cross stitching, whatever it is. And when you talk about that, it just flows out of you. I'm able to regurgitate this information because I've had thousands and thousands and thousands of conversations, over and over again. And I've practiced it, in the mirror, whatever. I'm still to this day practicing my pitch. So it just means that when you come, and then one day you'll be on an appointment, they'll ask you a question. So you've read your lease option, you've read all the paper and all the contracts, you've been practicing your pitch. A vendor will ask you a question, you'll just go, blah, 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 and you'll be like, Jesus, that was sexy. Just like, all of a sudden it just comes out of you, and it's just like, wow, I'm pretty good. I'm going to run a webinar on this stuff. So practice your pitch. Okay. Very important. The next one is ask the question. A lot of people don't ask the question. I guarantee that a lot of people out there have done, flips, buy, refurbish, and flips, and they could have done assisted sales just because they didn't ask the question. So, be sure to ask the question. Don't be shy, but just know how to ask the question. That relates into practicing your pitch and knowing your product, and also being a private detective. So being able to ask the question, the first three help you with number 4. Make contrast offers. Always make contrast offers. So look, Dave, I'm going to offer you £65,000 today. Can't take £65,000. Okay. I could give you 72 if you're willing to wait. What do you mean wait? Well, what I'm willing to do is, I think this property could get a little bit more if we put in a new kitchen, bathroom. By the way, all this before you go round. Don't be trying to work this out on the appointment. You know all this, follow the points, 1, 2, 3, 4. And just say, if you're willing to wait a little bit, I'm going to come in and do the work. I'll make sure I'll get you 72 for your property. Can you do that? Yeah, can absolutely do it. I'll put the paperwork in place. Property stays in your name. I'm just going to come in, do the work with my guys, et cetera, whatever. When it goes through, we all get paid. Okay, brilliant. Now, just so you know, Dave, if it sells for everything over above 72, obviously I'm spending some money and I get to keep everything over and above 72. Are you okay with that? Go on then. Oh, no, I'm not sure. 75, have the conversation. Okay. Disclaimer. If you offer 65, make sure you've got the 65 to buy it. So if they say, yeah, I'll accept 65, then you've got to come up with the 65. So before you make a contrast offer, make sure you can deliver on both. All right. Now, if you can't deliver on the 65, offer 40. Okay. Offer something that he absolutely cannot accept, but always make contrast offers. Cool. Very, very powerful tool. And it's a great way of getting a lease option, assisted sale, deal trade, whatever. Okay. It's a great way to get it. You get the motivation out of them. You don't have to be creative to implement creative strategies. So anyone sat here listening today saying, Andy, I'm not creative, don't worry. I don't particularly think I'm creative. I just stick at problems longer.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't really think I'm great. I understand how to use creative strategies. I won't say I'm very creative, but you better know that I will stick at a problem longer than all of you combined. It's just that simple. There's so many times that guys have just like, I'm done. Walk away from this deal. Let me know if you do it. And I've got the deal done. I was like, I don't know how you did that. I don't know how you had the patience for it. I couldn't deal with that guy. The property was wrecked. I just stick at problems longer. Look, I don't flog a dead horse. I know when to walk away from a deal. But if I can see if I can see huge value in a deal, and it's just going to take a little bit of work, you better believe I'm all in. So don't worry, you don't have to be creative to invent creative strategies. Just be willing to work hard on the problem and work with the vendor. Understand your product, practice those, 5 things above, and you'll do well. And that's it. I did put Q&A at the end, but that's just the last slide anyway. So yeah, that's it.
I'm just having a quick to see if we've got any questions. Spare me 1 second. Oh my gosh, we've been on an hour and a half.
No, we have not.
We have.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, everyone.
In fact, if anyone has got any questions, because I'm very conscious of your time, just pop them in the comments and either I'll try and answer them or if Andy...
I'll jump in the comments and answer them. Happy to. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time. That's been amazing. I've got loads of value from it. I'm sure everyone watching or who watches it afterwards on YouTube, in the Blue Oak community. If anyone wants to know anything more about Andy, please, I will put some links in the comments about Blue Oak. Obviously, I've tagged it in this post. It's a great community of people. I'm interviewing your fellow director tomorrow, Mr. Rich Liddell.
That's going to be a good one.
I'm sure there'll be loads more content from him. So, yeah, and there's also Paul Smith. I've known Paul for quite a while now. Amazing guy, very knowledgeable. Has got a lot of things in his toolbox that I actually didn't realise about nurseries. Yeah. So yeah, 3 are a formidable force, and yeah, jump on to Blue Oak and get in touch with them guys because I've got so much knowledge and experience behind them. It's truly inspiring.
Very, very nice of you to say, Laura.
Thanks, mate. Nice. I really appreciate this.
You are always welcome, my darling. You're a star. Okay.
New unclipped from the live. So thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks, guys.